Good evening, everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Chat. And this evening, I have a very special guest called Deshnee Govender. Deshnee has a BAdmin honors degree from the UKZN, that's the University of Durban Westville University, and an MBA. She's married with 3 sons. Her career started at the Department of Public Works, Johannesburg Regional Office in August 1989. Her career took off as an admin officer, and she moved up the ranks to deputy director at the Department of Minerals and Energy. During this period, she worked at the Public Works Durban Regional Office, and when change took place, she was recruited to the Public Works head office in Pretoria as an assistant director. She was seconded to public entity by the Department of Minerals and Energy to assist the CEO to operationalize the entity. After being 10 years in the entity, she was successful in being appointed at another entity in the energy space where she currently reports to the CEO. And I can go on and on and on and talk about Deshnee Govender because she's achieved so much since I've known her as my neighbor in Pietermaritzburg. Welcome, Deshnee.
Good evening, viewers. Wow, Shamila, I'm so excited to actually share this platform with you. Thank you for the opportunity, and I am so grateful.
It's only a pleasure. When I have to think back about our younger days when we were neighbors, and I just mentioned to you, me with my 2 plats and just looking all different growing up. And now we're here and I see this giant of a person that's just evolved into something so big. Do you maybe want to tell me who is Deshnee? I think a lot of people out there want to know as well. Who is this woman that has done so much in this short space of time?
Sham, just growing up, I don't think you would have known, but I was actually so fascinated about the aviation industry. For me, aeroplanes were just so creative and complex technologies. And had I completed matric now, I would have definitely pursued a career, as a pilot. I tend to look up to people, with great values, and I seem to inculcate that in my kids. I'm so inspired by the late Tata Madiba, it sounds very cliched, for his amazing ability to forgive, and also by Gandhi for his belief in the power and the virtue of peace. My motto is the sky is the limit, and whatever you do, do it with a passion. I believe that for success, it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and sacrifice. Some of the adjectives that I use to describe me is feisty, fearless, fun-loving, full of confidence, assertive with diplomacy, high levels of EQ and SQ, very intuitive. I tend to follow my gut feeling. I'm very vibrant and energetic, very caring, very much a problem solver, and I have high levels of work ethic. That kind of sums me up as a person.
Very interesting, but I just want to go back a little bit because I think we are so proud to actually come from Pietermaritzburg, and we've done so much in terms of putting Pietermaritzburg on the map, us and a whole lot of other people. But maybe you just want to tell us which high school you went to, because I'm like, I went to the same high school.
Okay, I attended the Greenhill Primary School, and then I attended Woodland Secondary. And I come from such humble beginnings, just like you. My father was just an ordinary person. He worked in a shoe factory. My mother was a dressmaker, and I'm forever, grateful for everything that they actually did for me. I come from a family of 4 siblings. I've got 2 sisters and a brother. And after matriculating, I wasn't sure actually what to study. And at that stage, the B administration degree was relatively new. It was the cheapest degree. And I saw myself becoming a public servant, wanting to make a difference in the lives of people. And this is why I pursued this degree. So I actually majored in public administration and political science. So soon after matric, I left Pietermaritzburg, and I lived with an amazing family, the Mudleys, in Unit 7 Chatsworth, where I attended university. I also lived for a little while with my mom's sister, the Pillais, also an amazing family in Merebank. And I'm so indebted to both these families. And I graduated with my first degree. I was only 20. I got married, and then I went back to go and study for my honors degree.
You see, life never ends when you get married. Hey, you continue studying and you just grow and develop yourself. And that's exactly what we've done. You know, we started early and we're still
Absolutely.
climbing the corporate ladders or the ladders, and we're still growing ourselves as individuals. And that is
And
inspiration
that's
for
how it should,
everybody out there. You never ever
and
stop.
that's how it should be.
I just want to take a step back as well. Your motto, the sky's the limit, is mine as well. And I don't think you knew that.
Oh, we got something in common. We've got so many things in common.
Yes, yes, Deshnee. Well, I remember, you know, when I used to come to your house and your mom used to sew, she was a dressmaker for us as well. So it just brings
Yes,
back a whole lot of memories. And that is why I said we need to do that coffee very soon.
absolutely.
Deshnee, tell me about your career at Lotus FM, because I was very intrigued by that.
You know, soon after graduating with my honors degree, I applied to the SABC to be a continuity announcer. And it was those days that Mr. Hassan, I think it was the station manager. I remember doing that simulation as well. So at that stage, you would have to be on air for at least 3 hours. You would have to present a program of light Indian music. You would have to render the news, a weather report, an advertisement, etc. So I didn't get the post because I struggled to pronounce the names of the Indian songs. And then my husband and I relocated to Johannesburg. I was appointed in government. I was pregnant with the first child as well. And then I got a call from Lotus FM to actually read the news for them. And I had declined, unfortunately.
Oh, no. Was that because of your move to Johannesburg?
I had just started, my first job in government, and already pregnant with the first child. I couldn't see myself going back.
Okay, so I guess you never looked back because, I mean, from here on, it was just growth and development.
Absolutely.
So, Deshnee, I'm very interested to know your entire career in a nutshell. Do you think you made the right decisions in terms of your studying political science, moving into government, being in this space? Do you think that was the right decision? Or if you had to change something, would you change anything?
When I look back, I'm so glad that I actually studied, public administration. Because if you look around now in government, I mean, these are the qualifications that actually required for deputy director generals and for director generals. So, I don't look back, well, I've got the MBA as well, and now I actually want to pursue, a PhD as well.
That's awesome. The unstoppable Deshnee Govender. Tell me some of your highlights in government. Anything that stands out for you?
It was such an amazing journey, filled with so many happy moments, trials and tribulations, but there's a purpose for everything. And I know that I'm destined, for bigger and better things. Um, in 1997, I was transferred to the Durban Regional Office, and everything happens for a reason. I was promoted then to senior officer. I was responsible for 4 sub-directorates. At 28, I had 12 people actually reporting to me. And I think the reason for me being transferred as well gave me the opportunity to spend time with my father-in-law and my father, because in 1997 my father-in-law passed away, and then in 1998 my father passed away. And then when change had just taken place in 1994, there were so many opportunities then for women. And I was then appointed in a assistant director position at the head office, and then we had to relocate, once more to Johannesburg. But thanks to amazing people in the Department of Public Works, like Mr. Parmak, I was appointed to project manage the Nelson Mandela Museum project. It was a legacy project, a three-pronged approach. There were structures at Kunu and Imbezu, and the Ibunga building. was a museum, where the artifacts and the gifts that were given to the late Tata Madiba are now currently housed. So one thing that actually stands for me is when I had to relocate the Eastern Cape administration out of the building, so the building could be used for these purposes, I had to meet with the high-level officials at the department. And when I had my meeting with them, and at that stage, the late Minister Stella Sakha was the Minister of Public Works. And after I took them through and told them exactly why they need to relocate, etc., I was so overwhelmed when they told me. They said, we got to tell our princess, because she was known as the Princess of the Eastern Cape. They said, we have to tell our princess that we met another princess. And I was just so overwhelmed. I also managed the accommodation at the border sites, and it was such exciting times. I had the adrenaline pumping all the time. I would just jump onto a helicopter or a four-seater charter plane, and we'd visit the border sites. And I have fond memories of us having to do an emergency landing one day at Pongola because we were low on fuel. And the next day, we slept over, and the next day, we made our way to Rand Airport. So because I had so much of experience within public works, when the new DDG was appointed, I was actually seconded, to his office. And we had Mr. Mokotedi and I had such good relationships, and I was also given a bursary to study for my MBA. Mr. Vermaak had spotted my potential and supported me. And then when Mr. Mokotedi had left the department, then I was transferred to the Chief Director HRM's office. And this is where I learned so much about managing people and organizations from a very seasoned Mr. Dlomo. Incidentally, Mr. Dlomo, sat in structures responsible for transforming the whole of the public service. And after that, I got a bit bored in the Department of Public Works, and I applied for a DD position in the Department of Minerals and Energy, and I was successful in being appointed in Dr. Crompton's office. He was such a remarkable man. I learned so much from him, and he gave me such great opportunities, presentations at international meetings and conferences, attending meetings, with DGs, etc. And he also then gave me a bursary to actually study, for the second part of my MBA. And when that was done, I received a bursary for my PhD. But because I was actually then seconded to actually operationalize an entity, which was the brainchild of two departments, I could not accept the bursary.
This is so interesting. So tell me, Deshnee, you've been through so many different roles. You've had teams that you managed. I would say it was more predominantly in a man's world. How did you? Yeah. So tell me about the challenges that you faced as a woman in corporate and government.
Sorry, yeah. There's always this men versus women issues, We like always the two sides of the same coin. We have our unique charisma, and each of us have our, we kind of handle situations differently. The men seem to be more practical. The women are more compassionate. We have higher levels of EQ. And we women want to be recognized for our talent.
Sorry, I had to laugh. I love that. I love that.
Men and women need to combine their strengths, their synergies, and we need to work in unity, but that does not happen. The strong women intimidate the boys, and the strong men are not intimidated by us strong women, and then I had to work twice as hard to actually prove myself. And then there's also this issue of power play, for generations, women have succumbed to this power play, that men have played. And, we need the courage, we need the time to actually survive the power play politics. And for us surviving, the politics in the work environment, it's one of the highest challenges, because it hurts us internally. And then also, it disturbs our mental peace. So we need to have capable leaders, heading up institutions and organizations, because they need to create this healthy relationships between employees, be it men, be it women, not the divide and the rule kind of tactics, And as women, we're constantly receiving criticism, and we need to know, whether it's constructive, whether it's breaking, and if it's breaking us, we just have to be resilient. We just have to get up, dust ourselves, and just forge ahead. And that's what I've been doing all my life. And then it's the ego clashes. We all know that Adam was the first human being, in the world, and then came Eve. But some men will always try to prove their superiority in the workplace. They'll feel their egos are being crushed, if a junior woman has to come and tell them, this is how things should be done, or whether she comes up with a better idea, or whether they have to report to a woman, or even, as a junior woman in an organization, if you kind of see that, hey, we're hitting the iceberg now, we need to have a turnaround strategy. Oh no, it's career limiting, So no matter how kind we can be in the workplace as well, you know what, men will always find faults against our approach, our mode of work. And and sometimes you find that these weak men as well, they need to vent out, so they gossip and they rant and they rave. And yet strong women are like us, that have been through so much. Sometimes, we just kind of suck up the agony, the pain, and we just smile, very, very gracefully.
Yes, yes. Carry on. Sorry.
So there's so much of bullying in the workplace, the intimidation, the harassment, the mind games, the undermining, the gaslighting, and then, men actually use and they manipulate other women as well, what to fight their battles. And you find that you could be friends today, and then tomorrow you alienated, women will threaten other women to strike them as well. And then if you come across as a strong woman as well, then, whatever project you put forth, whatever resources you might require as well, you're not getting it, So all this kind of affects your psychological well-being, and unfortunately, the strong men that I've worked with no longer exist. They kind of able to spot a trailblazer, and they will nurture and develop and coach and mentor you. And now we currently, we have weak men who are actually in need of healing. And then also, as a woman, it's so difficult. You have this work life, you've got this private life, you need to balance that, and it's difficult to actually maintain a home, to work, be a student at the same time. I mean, when I was studying for my MBA, my youngest child was only a year, and I had to leave him with the day mother over weekends just so that I could attend lectures, because for most part of that time, my husband worked and he traveled overseas as well. So there's so many challenges.
Yes, the sacrifices that us women have to make to actually grow ourselves. And but you're such an inspiration. You've done so much. I just want to find out, you said you applied for over 100 positions, some CEO positions, and you were declined. How did you feel, being sometimes one of two, and then you thinking it's created that expectation that you have the position and then you don't get it? What were your feelings? Because, from what I see, it was just perseverance. You just carried on and you went and you applied and applied and applied. So, yeah, just take me through that.
That is so true. Over the 5 years, the past 5 years, I've applied for over 100 positions. I had a COO interview at a state entity. I made it to the psychometric testing, thinking, well, this is the job for me. Only to know that the post was given to an internal candidate. Last year, I was interviewed for a CEO position, and the board interviewed me, and the position was given to a male. We should be appointing people, based on their skills, their competence, their qualifications, their knowledge. But unfortunately, this is not the case. This is not the case. And sometimes, I've been told many a times that I'm a moral compass. I like to do things according to the book. then I sometimes ask, but why? If we had used the theory and if we had implemented it into the practical work environment, we wouldn't find ourselves, in the juncture that we are currently in, as a country. So it is also possible that maybe some of the weak men that I've worked with, are giving me negative references just because they're vindictive and they want to get back at me. But the best interview that I've ever had was with Advocate Thuli Madamsela. It was for a chief director post in an office. I may not have been successful in getting the post, but at least I had the opportunity of sitting right next to one remarkable woman.
Wonderful. Yes, she's a ball of energy, and I'm sure you actually latched onto a lot of positive energies in that room. So tell me, you are a council member and you sit on a few boards. Do you maybe want to take me through that?
All right. I used to be a council member of the International Air Services Council. We actually provided, air services licenses to carriers outside the country. And remember the aviation industry as well, very male dominated. And remember, I told you in the beginning how I was so fascinated with the aviation industry, and just see how God works in such mysterious ways, because I got appointed to the Air Services Council. We were such an awesome team. Together with the team, we strived for the need for market analyses, because remember, market analyses now are done to ensure you have numbers of people en route to a particular destination. Because remember, jet fuel is one of the most expensive commodities in the world, and you cannot have an aircraft traveling to a destination and there's only 5 passengers on board. So, we've come up with that. We also scrutinized management plans to see, where the females in the organizations were actually located. And I was so fond of asking the questions, relating to the females. And one day, one of the airline owners came in, and after I questioned him in that regard, he said, well, we were 2 females sitting on the council, but he said, wow, I just knew that you were going to ask me this question. And we also supported the airports going green, reducing their carbon footprints. And yes, I did not receive a remuneration for this, as it would have been considered to be double dipping. So I actually took a day's leave to attend these meetings. And then I'm also sitting on the DUT Public Management Advisory Committee, where we actually relook at the curriculum, for public management and try to align it, to what the needs of government are.
Well done. Such a busy woman doing so many different things and achieving so much. Deshnee, lockdown, COVID-19, what has that taught you?
I take the good with the bad, and amidst all the challenges, the deaths, the infections, etc., it was a time for self-reflection and self-discovery. I realized that my experiences, have contributed to me becoming an activist for social justice. And I can use my experience to actually make this a better world for future women in corporate and government. So I penned a 2-pager, on the non-physical violence of women in the workplace, and I sent it through to the Womandla competition. I'm sure you heard of Womandla. So the same 2-pager was sent to the Department of Women as well as the Presidency, and Department of Women have come back to me and they said, they would appreciate it if I could draft a motivation with interventions as well. So one of the interventions, I proposed is that we need psychologists in the workplace, as HR is not equipped to deal with some of the weak men, who bully and intimidate women because of their power in the workplace. So my current, the motivation that I actually completed is currently doing its rounds at Department of Health, DPSA, Commission for Gender Equity, Department of Labor, organized labor. So I'm now appointed to actually sit on government's GBB JHB forum. And I'm so excited that I'm able to actually transform the working environment for future women. So we have like high-level meetings, with vast networks, the UN Women, the International Labour Organization, NEDLAC, the unions, government departments, etc. So I'm loving that.
Well done. That is such a great platform to be in, especially now or be on, especially now with what we're experiencing in the country in terms of GBV. So I'm sure you're going to add a lot of value in that committee. I wish you everything of the best. In closing, what is your message to, I'm not going to say women, I'm going to say people out there. So you're such an inspiration person, and I'm sure the men and the women can grab a lot from what you've said tonight. So what is your message out there?
It's so important to have self-respect, know your worth, don't let others define you, and know your boundaries as well. Believe in yourself, stand up for what you believe in yourself, even if it means standing alone. And when you stand up for yourself, you're actually standing up for others as well. Take risks and remember that whatever you put out in the universe, you get back. And as I journey on, to bigger and better things on the horizon, I will ensure that I get to take more women with me. And oh yes, the men who want to come along as well, they can join in. And to everyone, just be the best you can. Study, network, do your best. The sky is the limit. My parting shot is that I'm inspired by the podcast that did its rounds, the one from Michelle Obama, where she says, we women, I quote, we women are not put on this earth just to be good wives and good mothers, but we must be good citizens and we must be good individuals. So I close quote. So to each person, whom I've interacted with, good and bad, negative and positive, thank you for contributing to who I've become. And to my 4 wonderful men, you are strong because I am.
Oh man, I have no idea how you do it, but it's the one thorn, well, it's the one rose amongst all the thorns. But in this case, it's going to be the one thorn amongst all the roses. I mean, what you've achieved, and it takes dynamite to get to this big giant. So, Deshnee Govender, thank you so much for coming on board and chatting to me on the Red Corner Chat. I know you've inspired so many people tonight, and I wish you everything of the best on your journey, and I know you're unstoppable.
Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate this. You go well and hope to see you soon.
No, definitely we're going to have that coffee very soon. Take care. Bye.